woke up on the morning of my 46th birthday at Parchman prison farm. As I'm creating this content and I'm cutting this footage, I'm starting to realize that we talk a lot about having spent 5 weeks at Parchman Penitentiary, but we rarely talk about why we were there. We were there because of the Freedom Initiative program. It all started from a documentary called Damage Done: The Effects of Long-Term Incarceration. It chronicles the life of Christ Song founder Bobby McGee, and it's essentially about some of the trauma he continues to struggle with as a result of having spent 22 years of his life in prison.
But I want you to understand what prison has done to me.
Damage Done: The Effects of Long-Term Incarceration was never really intended for public consumption.
And I'm able to dig deeper into the trauma.
We put that together because it was intended to be a video that we were going to send into the prisons.
When the guard would unlock the door down to the hole, you could hear the door when the key would go in it. And it would echo. You could hear the doors, the hinges squeaking. And then you could hear it squeaking back, and then he would turn the key, and you could hear that lock. And then you'd hear his footsteps coming down the catwalk, passing by each cell to each cell. And sometimes you'd sit there and you'd look up and...
So the video footage was intended to serve that purpose. It became a documentary after we had the conversation. I asked Nan and Bobby if I could turn it into a documentary. And they said, go ahead, get to work, and we'll find the money. So I got started.
That I could visibly see my chest shaking. I was vibrating with fear. I could smell it out of my pores.
We had had a few conversations about how we wanted to release it, but before we ever came to an agreement on how we should do that, the documentary started working. The response they got, I believe it was one prison in Georgia where after they showed the film, an inmate approached them and thanked them, and in so many words expressed to them that because Bobby was so willing to be vulnerable and open himself up and share his story, it now made it easier for himself, the inmate, to open up and share his story. So Bobby and Nan started to see that it was more than just a documentary. It was actually bringing some healing. So the Freedom Initiative training, it's based on the documentary. So once Bobby and Nan were made aware of the fact that there were inmates who were actually finding healing through this program, well, naturally they wanted to spread it to every prison in the country. But it had to start somewhere, and because of that relationship with Borough King, we were able to get that done at Parchman. I learned a lot about trauma and trauma-related stress during that process. And then after going into the prison and witnessing the healing, as Bobby, Nan, and Perry were teaching this program to these inmates.
I think this is a great program, and I've gone through a lot of emotions, and I just hope that it'll be a great opportunity to help some guys in this penitentiary.
The program is very effective. It helps restore me. I truly believe that many men in prison is suffering from trauma-related stress.
It has helped me to understand the pain that I caused and the pain that was caused upon me. And I think that having learned to clarify those things, I'll be able to help others to deal with their pain, their hurt, their stress.
This program is really good. For me, it's really good. And I see it being really good for a lot of other guys. Man, I can do that too. Maybe this will help me.
I'm so grateful that they gave me that opportunity, because from that, now this Freedom Initiative training is being used to bring healing to some of these men and women on the inside.
Now, when David walked out, and he walked out, but brother, his skin was falling off. And I don't have to tell you, you have seen it. When you mentioned a minute ago about smelling, that smell wouldn't leave our cell block.
When I saw the video of where Mr. Bobby experienced the guy that got set on fire, I sit back and I kind of lost focus of his trauma, and I went back in my life. and I began to view what I had going on and the scars that are just really deep. And I began to think about triggers.
It gave me a soothing or comforting that made me really want to express myself.
Mr. Rufus L. White, Jr.
After one of the graduating classes of the Freedom Initiative training, we sat a few of the participants down for an interview.
God bless you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rufus. God bless you, sir. I'm so proud of you, brother.
At the time I met Rufus White, he had been serving time at Parchman for the past
40 years. Past 40 years. And when I arrived here in Mississippi, I didn't know anyone. I was alone. And so I didn't really know what to do. And I messed around and got with the wrong crowd of people. And as a result of getting with the wrong kind of people, I committed armed robbery. You know, a funny thing about life is that I never hurt or killed anyone. But as a habitual offender, I'm here to spend the remainder of my life in prison without ever being released. Now I know that I caused hardship and pain and suffering to the people that I pulled a pistol on. I regret that today. I'm sorry for that today. But I can't change what has already happened.
I've made decisions in my life and regretted them minutes later.
Past 40 years.
During the interview, he talked about being mistreated by a family member.
My grandfather, and what my grandfather had not only done to me, but what he had done to my other cousins. Over the years, I've carried that pain within. And as grown men, you know, at a certain age, there are certain things that we just don't want to explain to anyone else. We carry that load. But with you, you've given me the opportunity to release that, to be able to go forward now without all that. Ever since the other day when you and I talked, and you got me to talk, I felt a relief that I've not felt before in a long time. I do know this. Should God bless me to go and be free again someday, I don't think I would ever be able to commit another crime. That's out of my picture, you know. And had you known me 40 years ago, there's nowhere in the world you would have believed that I'd be sitting here talking the way I'm talking today.
And at some point during the interview, Bobby asked him what he would do with his life if he were to ever get paroled. And Rufus said to him,
all I can say right now is that what I believe I would like to do should I become free again. And that is, well, I have a family, people that probably love and care about me. I don't know to what extent that I will be able to embrace them and them embrace me after so many years. I just don't know that. So it would be very hard for me I thought I was strong. I ain't strong.
You ain't had a chance to get this out of you in a long time, my brother.
perhaps if someone had shown Rufus White that type of love 40 years ago, he might not have ended up on Parchman Prison Farm.
You want me to turn the camera off? You okay? Okay. All right? All right. I love you, brother. All right.
This is the first time that I believe in my life that from being incarcerated, if this is shown to anyone, I'll be heard. I'll be heard for the first time.